members of all of the cemetery commission members are here. And
Minutes.
it's, this is not a regular meeting, but a special meeting, so the minutes can wait till our regular meeting this month.
Okay.
Um,
Do we want to read the ones from the previous month that we skipped over because I didn't have them with me?
No, we'll do that.
We'll do that
We'll
another
do
time.
that at the meeting. We'll do all the
3:30,
minutes.
special meeting open.
This is a special meeting.
3:03.
I noticed that we neglected to organize for the year at our last meeting. Yeah, because that would have been after the election, and so we need to do that. So I put that on the agenda for today.
So we're organizing what?
To organize offices and so forth for the year.
Gotcha.
Does somebody want to make a motion that we keep the same offices?
I motion that we keep the same offices.
I second.
Motion made and seconded to keep the same offices. That's the Barry Yeager as chair and Berna Ewing as clerk. The third member is also employed by us as our superintendent. Anything to be said on the motion? If not, I'll ask you to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote in favor. Second thing is figuring out where we are financially. You have some bills for us
Yes, I do.
that we need to factor into this, so we'll take
Yep.
them up. $458 for the superintendent for the month. We have $42.84 from the Harvard Outdoor Equipment people who are used for parts for our mowers and stuff, mowers and equipment. From Roger E. Wheeler and Sons, we have $650 for 2 graves. Cleaning up from winter burials.
That's,
And digging up a water line at South Cemetery and backfilling the water line and cleaning it up from that, which is $500. So we have a total of $650 for them. And we have parts. We have $632.70 for the geraniums, for the flower fund flowers. And for a total of $1,783.54.
What is it?
$1,783.54. Is there a question on any of the bills?
That was it. for
If
May
not, we will
review.
proceed to pay them.
And signed, totaling,
$1,783.54.
okay.
Okay. That's an 8, 7, 2, 5, 8, 2, 5. Okay.
So what's the figure?
So I checked with the accountant, and because she has not cleared everything with the treasurer to make sure everything agrees, she says this is only an estimate.
So
But,
that,
we had $7,068.83 prior to today.
mhm.
And with the 1783, we're down to 5,285.29 in the account.
285.29.
Now, we know we're gonna have, $458 off of that.
And, you've got part coming in for the mower. It's on that slip there, but it hadn't, they got the part and they were fixing it yesterday for one of the mowers, but they did not have a slip for it yet. And that's,
For an additional thing.
yes, and that's 211.60.
All right. 211.50.
60.
60.
60, yeah,
And what's the 458?
would be the superintendent's pay.
The superintendent's pay for month of June.
June.
So that leaves us now with, what is it?
4, 9, 6, 5, 1, 6, 4. That leaves us with $4,615
69 cents.
and some cents.
69 cents.
So
I missed the whole thing.
4
4, 6.
$4,615 and change.
and 69 cents.
Now, that doesn't mean there won't be another bill, or we might have a burial or whatever else, so it's not like we're gonna spend all of that, but we could spend most of it.
Yeah,
Oh, damn it, I forgot those. Damn it, I forgot.
We could certainly spend 4,000 of it if we have reason to.
I forgot
Um,
the binder clips. They were right by the door. I meant to grab them. Oh well, I'll show them to you.
you can get it
But,
next
you know-
meeting, which is in the 20th, so.
Right, but we need some pieces and parts for that. So
Okay.
we could put it together. You know, we should buy some Strathmore and make the binders.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's one thing. But there's other ways we can spend the money,
yeah.
so.
Well, do we have we bought some of that
Yes.
stuff? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I meant to bring them.
Oh, okay. Well, get it to him so we can put it on the thing for
The warrant,
the
next,
warrant
for the
next
20th.
time. For the meeting,
We got a
2
meeting.
weeks from today, we have a regular.
Another meeting, a regular meeting.
What am I getting to him?
The bill.
The bill,
I have to make one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Give him the slip that's got the stuff on it and circle the stuff that needs to be reimbursed. You know,
Or
we're
just
gonna
off
make-
my bank statement. I don't know that it's,
I can explain it to you, because you have to have a reimbursement form.
right,
Is it a credit card thing?
yeah.
Okay, so your credit card bill.
Right,
And
right.
so you can get the stuff off
Yep,
of that
yep,
and the slip.
Yep, yep. Yep.
But get it to him so he can put it on the thing for next,
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks.
All right.
Now, well, usually we don't do that last one until after the end of the month, right?
Yeah, but if we had stuff come in, I would think we could pay it, and that way
We'll
we'd
pay it
be
ahead.
closer to
Yeah.
know exactly where we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the binders, they're just, these things loose.
Yeah.
And we haven't designed how we would use them because there's 2 sizes.
Yeah.
So, damn it, I wish I brought them, shit. But it was like $22. I was like, well, I'll just
Yeah.
order them and see what happens, see what they look like.
Yeah,
And then some of them look appropriate and some of them look too small, but maybe we can figure out how to use them.
yeah,
I don't know. But anyway,
okay.
the board to make the back, you know, we have to make our own folder, because there isn't one, so that, I can go, research the cost on it, see if I can find
Yeah.
some good weight cardboard that we can make a binder with.
Well, we also might be able to tape these up with some good materials that would last a little while.
We need more books, though, that's the problem, is we need.
Oh, yes, we
That's
do
what I'm
need,
talking
we
about.
do need an additional book
And we need,
for
yeah.
North Cemetery.
Yeah,
Cause
yeah,
North is
that's what I'm trying to
outgrowing
say.
its book.
I'm not saying that these shouldn't be secured, cause
Yeah.
of course they should,
Oh, yeah,
and that, you
but
and I,
yes, we do.
I'm an expert at that sort of antique restoration, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done enough of it.
Yeah.
But we need to make a new one, all right, so.
Okay. So at any rate, we've got
So,
probably, certainly $4,000 that's available.
yeah,
And we've already got the bill on getting the water straightened out there, thank goodness. I've run water, yes, I have run water over at the end too, I think.
Well, right now I've got it half, cause I have to get a new
Yeah,
gravel got in, and I gotta take one of the things apart
yeah,
to, cause I had a pea stone, stone the size of a pea in there, and I just
yeah.
didn't have the spot to take it apart down there.
Until you get it out, it's not ready.
And it's got a plug in it right now, so.
Yeah.
And
Okay, that's,
I was up to the highway yesterday and I spoke to them about, seeing what we had for filters and oil filters and air filters and blades.
yeah,
To make a list, and we're gonna make a list of stuff that, so that
yeah,
we can have enough to carry through till the end of next year, just in case we
Yeah.
run out of money.
and, yeah, I mean, we might as well buy them, we're gonna use them.
Absolutely, it's not gonna go bad.
And, they can buy them this month.
Yes, I've already talked to Fred about it, and I talked to one of the kids,
Yeah.
Adam, about it, cause he's gonna handle that, so.
Okay.
so this is fluids for,
Well, it's
Parts.
oil filters, air filters, parts, mower blades, stuff for the mowers to have, because we have some money, it's
I
just.
mean, they're things that we have to
we have to
use,
supply anyway, right.
and if we buy them now, then we don't have to worry about,
So we have them on hand.
we'll have them on hand as we need them this year.
This year through next spring, so that.
Right, because we
If
have
you
to
run
mow
out of-
until November, so we've got a whole
Yeah, and
season.
you've gotta start next year, and so that way, if you
Yeah,
have, it gets crazy with stuff, you have the stuff you need already.
so are we looking at approximately $500 of it maybe on all that stuff?
I'll have to see what they have, it could possibly be around that
Three
$300.
to five,
Possibly,
yeah,
possibly. I'll see, they're gonna inventory it, and I'll talk to them, and see, we'll decide what we're
so
gonna get.
who's inventorying it?
They're gonna up there, one of them.
Highway.
Yeah.
Now, one of the problems we've got is we've got trees that are on neighbors' land that we need to trim and get out of
Right.
our way. And, definitely at South as well as at Center, at the burying ground. And, the town can't do it because they can't do anything on somebody's, on private land.
Private property.
And their insurance won't cover them to. So we have to hire somebody to do it.
Well, I think they can cut the limbs that hang over the property line.
Yeah, but they can't cut down the tree.
No,
They might be able to do some of the trimming, but
and once you get the limb trimmed, the danger, a lot of it's gone, cause a lot of them are leaning into
Yeah.
the woods.
it's less
Right.
likely to fall our way. Depends on what the wind is, though.
Yeah.
Have we got anybody in line to do that, to price it, or has anybody looked at it and given us an idea of what it's gonna cost us?
No, we haven't, but we can do that.
and find out, talk to a couple of people.
Yep.
To see what is,
Yeah, there's a company that I shared their contact information from just my regular Facebook feed. They were advertising in our area. I think they're out of Sterling, and I put them on the Berlin Residents United page because they say they do free climb and they have bucket trucks.
well,
So, I can see if I can dig that up and give you their number.
okay.
Wonder if I could do that quickly.
I just was, this afternoon, I was going through some of the stuff that's in the box on the top drawer.
Yeah,
Came from George's more
yeah, I
recent.
put it in there.
Yep.
I still got a
And
few more boxes to bring over.
I've sorted out some of the things and refiled them, but, one of the things I noticed there was, stuff about working on trees in the burying ground and having to do it from the neighbor's property because you can't get the truck in the burying
Oh.
ground.
That was, yeah,
And that was when the property was in receivership,
yeah, when no one
And-
was living there.
there was nobody there, no owner, it was the bank or somebody was
I
holding
think,
it.
I think that was,
We got the property managers,
the permission to do that, be in
Yeah.
there.
And which side was that on? Which,
at number 8, Linden.
no, I mean, was it on the west side, the south side, or the
Well, the south side.
Sawyer side?
The south side.
South side.
The other people haven't been in foreclosure.
What?
The people on the other side haven't been in foreclosure.
Uh-huh.
At any rate, so we can research that and move ahead with that if we think it's okay.
Here we go. So this is,
Well, you can give that to him to
Yeah.
use for research.
um,
We haven't really talked about who at this point, but they can see what could be arranged.
I think they were out of Sterling.
And some of those trees, people might wanna use a crane to get some of that's,
Yeah,
would be expensive,
I'll say,
Yeah.
very expensive.
one of the trees that we need, that's very dead, near the shed in South Berlin, is a big tree.
I know, there's 2 of them there.
Yeah. Dead as a doornail, and they really need to be gotten out of there. Or at least cut down.
Okay, so here's one, that's the one that I shared. So, and I wrote down it's www.americanclimbers.com. I
Oh, okay.
think they're out of Sterling, maybe? It's all one word, treeclimbers.com. And it's 508-893-4665. And it's not a recommendation, I don't know anything about them, I
No,
just saw it and
just
shared it, and,
Just a possible
it's
opportunity.
somebody that we can talk to, yep.
Are there other pressing things that we know we wanna spend money on right now?
Well,
Well,
you got stuff at North you need for getting all that front field, starting to straighten out the field there. Do some engineering, something.
what's going on with Front Field?
Just needs to be some bounds, so you can have something to shoot off.
We need it measured out accurately and some markers. put
markers
in
placed.
For the rows, so that we,
Right, so what happened with, David?
well, we started with that, I can talk to him again about it, but we didn't. It didn't seem to,
Excite them?
well, I don't know, we gotta talk about it, we can talk about it with them. I don't know whether we can, whether we can schedule it fast enough to get it all in this year, but we might get something done on it. Can talk to him about it.
I wonder if we could put a deposit on
No,
half, no?
no, you can't, you gotta,
Pay-
you
pay
gotta
for
have the work done
In
by the
fiscal year.
30th
I
of
got it.
June.
I see.
You can't pay for it.
Gotcha.
Ahead
Yeah,
of time.
Yeah, doesn't work that way. I knew that.
You
I'm
can
sorry.
pay the bill after that, for a couple of weeks, but you can't, and you can encumber the money for longer too, but if you haven't got the work done, you can't, it's got to be work done in June.
About north site survey and marking at least front field, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and the other thing that we could potentially spend money on would be the chemicals and equipment to clean
Oh, yes.
antique stones.
that's right.
Yeah, your D2 solution.
Yeah.
Okay, let me, we already voted to buy some of that stuff.
Right.
And I can look that up again and refresh my memory and, try to get that done this month.
And gloves and buckets and scrubbers and whatever else we, like, why not get all the stuff lined up and do it? We'll be ready. So D2 solution, rubber gloves,
Yeah,
safety glasses.
I can get some of the, things I use for the Bronze Veterans Market from the guy, the cement
oh, yes,
bases, cause
The
I've
bases
used the
for the
last
bronze
of them.
yeah.
I've used the last of them.
Oh, you've used the last one, okay.
Yes.
Then we need some. What do you do, buy
Do-
4 or 5 of them at a time?
I'll call him up and see what his price is, and I usually get 6. That's what I got last time, and he brings them over and just leaves a slip.
Yeah,
Cause when he's doing a burial in Marlboro
Yeah,
or wherever,
yeah,
he'll
he'll
shoot
drop
over
it off
one
for you.
and drop them off at the South Cemetery.
Do you know if you would use the plastic putty knives? Is that for a scraper to get the surface lichen off? Is that something that would be on the list of things?
my experience is you use the brushes. You get the stiff
Stiff
bristle
brushes,
and use those
right?
for everything.
There's a girl who was in the
Wouldn't hurt to try this
community
plastic.
advocate or whatever. She did it as a Girl Scout project. She cleaned stones over in
Yeah,
Howard Street Cemetery.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen some stuff about that. I mean, it is work that can be done with volunteers, once they're trained.
Yeah, cause she used the same, that D2 solution is what she used.
And, it's this, the big thing is getting them, making sure people know what they can do and what they can't do.
Right, now, did you, remember on the Memorial Day planting day, there was 2 ladies from Maine, and I forget whose graves they were tending now. One was Lori and one was Lisa, and they wanted to be they're from Maine, but they wanted to be involved in a gravestone cleaning day if it was scheduled ahead of time. Did they ever get in touch with you? Okay, well, just keep that in the back of your mind. There was somebody that, I said that you guys were the contact people.
Yeah.
I think Lori is the relative and Lisa was her partner.
Okay.
What else do we need to spend money on?
Well, I'm gonna go down price sheets of plywood to drive on. I just wanna see what prices
Oh,
are right
that's
now.
such a good idea.
Yeah. I guess the wood prices are a little better than they were a few months ago. But I don't know if that goes
And
for all
if we're
things.
gonna invest in sheets of plywood to have for the future, I'm going to strongly recommend that we put some sort of outdoor finish on them so that they're sealed.
The
Because they
biggest
do.
thing is not so much the weather, it's the fact that how they get driven on and they tend to
Oh,
break because of the weight and
I,
everything.
believe me, I know all about it, but I also know that, you know, if they soak through, if they're protected, if we seal them, take a roller and we roll them and flop them over when they're dry and roll them
These,
and do the ends, they last longer. And it even, if they're getting wet and then drying and getting wet, they tend to break more. So it's a worthy consideration.
yep,
Whether we actually have the time to paint 5 or 6 sheets of plywood, I don't know. Whether it's worth the $50 a can, I don't know. But I can vouch for the longer life.
Well, the big thing is that their lives are limited because of the weight of the vehicles that drive on them.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And
I was,
that does away with their structural
oh,
integrity.
totally no, because
Yeah.
we moved, a dump truck full of mulching material across a beautiful lawn with, I don't remember how many it was, 10 sheets of plywood, and they were garbage by the time the job was over. They were just floppy messes, cause they had,
Well, that's really the problem, is that we do have heavy equipment that goes on them, and
yeah,
they don't last too long anyway.
right, yeah.
I had a thing on Memorial Day where I said to somebody, oh, I'm putting in the things from the flower fund, and they said, oh, I'd like to get in on that, but I want to do that. And I said, well, I can talk to the board about it. We haven't taken any flower fund money in a long time,
and we did up the price on it quite a few years ago.
because it really is a problem with the low interest rates to get the money, get enough money to pay for things. I don't know what they put in originally for these amounts, but God's sake, we'd have to get, well, let's see, what did these cost?
Well, we voted,
$2.85 a piece they cost us for the flowers, just to buy the flowers. And to get that as, say at 3%.
I'm not sure, so somebody wanted to be added to perpetual care?
They wanted to put money in for a flower fund, so we'd plant the flowers for them. And they wouldn't have to.
Isn't that perpetual care? No.
no,
No. It's
Oh.
separate.
Care is
The
mowing.
flowers are separate. Perpetual care is mowing and care of
mowing and weed
the
whacking.
ground.
Oh,
This is beyond perpetual care. And what number?
so the people that were putting flowers in now, they put in every year?
Yeah.
We put,
No, they paid, there was some they did years ago.
They put money in the flower fund years ago, and it's money that's at interest, and that's what we're supposed to pay for the flowers with. And it was a lovely idea, but when the bottom fell out of the interest rates a few years ago, after having gone up and up and up, it really killed it.
right, so we're making,
So we've made the obligation on those, so we have to put them in, but there's a question as to whether the money that's in the fund really can pay for them.
Doesn't.
If it does pay for them, it doesn't pay for more than the plant, it doesn't pay for putting them in.
Right.
And we have paid for that being done some of the time too.
So you're saying we don't wanna take on any more,
Try not to.
we don't wanna take on any more families, because adding flowers and adding manpower, without, we don't have a manpower, we have a volunteer.
We have discouraged it for
Right,
some time now.
right, I understand, but I'm just wondering if there's a way out of this conundrum.
There isn't.
Well, as of right now, there isn't. I gotta figure out what. I mean, right now, there are accounts where you can get up to it about 4%, but not. That's only because of the efforts they're doing to stop inflation.
Yeah, you get CDs and some of them got
Yeah.
subject, they can be subject to change, I think.
And you can't be sure that it's gonna be that much for long, so. And we've had interest rates on savings accounts that were less than 1%.
Right, well, what if we think about the other side, on the supply side, you know, about CSA farming? So if you pre-buy your produce in the cold months, and then you pick up your vegetables when they're ready, you don't have to pay anything if you've given money to the farmer in January, and then he gives you vegetables in July. I wonder if you prepaid for the flowers so that you got in on the wholesale price.
We get that anyway. That's what we're getting anyway.
We're getting the wholesale price.
We're buying from a wholesaler for the town. So there's no sales tax and all of that stuff. And we're getting wholesale price because we're buying in quantity for the town. So I don't know, cause he does no retail business,
No.
no retail business, he does only wholesale.
Right, but then he speculates on his plants, right?
It must, I don't know.
He speculates on how many plants he needs to plant, and then he hopes that he gets it right and gets, at the end,
Yeah,
he's sold them all and doesn't end up holding plants.
that's right.
So if we were to talk to him and see, would you like us to pre-buy them ahead of time, so you would know that our, how many do we buy? 300,
200,
say our
220,
250
whatever.
plants, you've already sold in January.
But he basically knows that anyway.
He knows that, cause he's,
I mean, we bought them from him for,
I'm sure.
I don't know, whenever penny stock.
Gotcha,
maybe.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
It's, I would say, close to 10 years that we've been buying it from him.
Oh, easily.
All right, so that wouldn't help.
So I don't think that's a problem.
Or it's not a solution either, so, yeah, moving on.
But that's totally from a local wholesaler, so.
Right,
And we bought them locally for years, one way or another, but
so
because Berlin produces so many.
people wanting to buy
That's
from the
true.
flower fund.
He just,
So what are they paying, what are the residents, what are people paying for their flowers? Like,
we did it quite a few years ago, we raised it up, it's $500 each. We voted at a meeting 10 years.
We raised up to 500?
Yes, we did. We voted at one of the meetings 10 years or 11 years ago, and it was actually, I think it's in the minutes somewhere. I know we put it up to $500.
I know we talked about it and increased it to a higher number, and I didn't remember what the amount
It
was.
was $500.
$500.
so.
That's what it is now.
And
So they pay that one time and then they're,
Yeah, but you don't advertise it because just
$500 at 2% would give you $10. We're buying the plants for $285, but that also would include the cost of putting them in.
And you
So-
also gotta remember, it could be 50 years from now, what it's
Oh.
gonna cost, that's the other thing.
Well, the problem, I mean, that's with a 2% thing, we haven't had a 2% thing.
For a
Right
long
now, we
time.
probably could get it at 2%, but we couldn't for a long time.
So $10 is one plant.
Yeah.
That's,
And how do you determine who gets 5 and who gets 2 and who?
that's what they paid for years ago.
It's how much money they put in their fund originally.
So what does 5 plants represent of them?
Whatever it was, whatever the price was years ago, I have no idea, I don't know what
You
it
know,
was.
they may have put in $50 a plant at the time that they did it.
Some of them might have put in 5.
Yeah, because the plants were cheaper and so forth, and the interest rates were higher and so forth.
You could just put in
So-
years ago, you
So
go,
maybe what we should do is do an audit of who put in what money, and instead of looking at the fund as a block that has to purchase a certain amount of plants and be put up, or be put out every year, if we audit who did what and who's still alive and who, you know, and maybe somebody that paid $50 40 years ago for 5 geraniums gets 2 or 1. And then somebody who wants to get 5 today, they can put in their $1,500 and we'll take it.
well,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe we need to like look at how it's broken down.
The point is, essentially, we have an agreement that was made
you made a
when
commitment
they
years
put their
ago,
money in.
and you have to stick to that
And this was the
commitment.
system that they had at the time, and are we really in a position to change that contract, especially if they did?
And a lot of the people that you're putting stuff in, there's nobody left
Well,
anyways
then,
to talk to.
well, then, that is one of those things that you separate those people out, and those are the people that go before, the volunteers organization, and you ask them, would you like to organize to perpetuate these flowers on these graves, because there's, you know, they're dead, and the fund is, what the money they originally put in is long ago spent, and if we would like to continue decorating these graves on Memorial Day, cause they're an important person, then this needs to be refunded, new funds need to come into this group of people.
I think you've got a really tricky situation there where you've promised to do something and based on, you know, other people did it before us, it isn't us.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying to not do it, I'm just saying to come up with creative ways to put money in to keep doing it for those people, and then you could open it back up for people who'd like to have it done today. You know, at some point, people reach the age of 60, 70 years old, and they've got another 20 years, and they're really not looking to be spending another 20 years on their hands and knees every Saturday before Memorial Day, digging, you know, they get somebody to do it for them.
And they want flowers there, and they want
Right.
flowers there in perpetuity after they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it sounds like it's something that could be,
it certainly can be examined over time. Yeah, I'd forgotten that we had actually made that 500 voted, and you're right, we
And it was
did, we purposely put it up a lot because we wanted to make sure it would cover it.
and it was per flower,
per flower, cool.
Per
and
plant.
it's geraniums, not anything.
But some
Right.
people put in, you know, in a time when it was cheaper, some people put in some substantial amounts so that they'd know they had a good display. Yeah, we can talk, we can discuss this some more in some future meetings too, and.
Right,
And work on just what it amounts to and what it would be at this percent interest and that percent interest and so forth.
yeah,
Um,
okay, so that sounds great. Can I, so we've got this list of things here. We've talked about, the grave records books, the parts for the mowers, the tree work, marking north, stone cleaning,
And possibly some tree work.
tree work, right, tree work. Is there anything else that we can think of that's been hanging out there? As far as monies that we could invest?
I think we probably got enough there if we actually go out and do it,
Yeah.
to
Yes.
spend a significant part of that.
Yeah,
And there are things that we've been wanting to do, and we can get at it, we can get it
Yeah.
done.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it looks
some
like
of
a
it
good
done.
list to me. Okay, so if we're there with that, do we wanna, make a motion to act on all this? Or do we have to do that, or are we just gonna proceed?
Yeah, I think we should have a motion to work on these things, and those that we can fit into the amount of money available,
Yeah,
we'll move ahead with.
and we have until
And-
what date?
The end of June to get it done.
June 30th.
And we have another meeting 2 weeks from today if we wanna take some action on any one big item.
Okay, so all of this,
Yeah,
so,
is there a motion to proceed with estimates and?
Yeah.
And actually do get some of this work done, provided we can,
yes,
get
there
fixed.
is.
And
Yeah,
the
'cause
money
I can-
is available.
I can figure out order parts and I can get those flat, the things,
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
stuff that can be done.
Motion made for building budgets.
With the remaining funds.
Yeah,
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
I seconded,
Is
voted,
there anybody,
unanimous. You feel like you've forgotten somebody?
no,
Okay,
I think we're all right.
all right, so,
Those are the things that we needed to do now, early in the month, so we could,
Right.
get some of this in motion. And we will continue with other of it later.
I didn't let you know formally, but we talked about these things at the previous meeting.
Yeah.
So this is
Oh, yeah,
my list of minutes that I have completed transcription to digital format.
okay.
If it says completed in notes, that means that I have it.
Yep.
If it's uploaded to the town page,
It's uploaded, yeah.
uploaded.
Mhm.
So I do not have this meeting that I was absent from December of 2022, May of 2022,
Okay,
March, February, January. I don't, this is where I was sick.
yeah, we will consult our,
Yeah, this was.
there's one or two of those that the meeting just didn't happen.
Right, but,
But we do have some other handwritten minutes or other things that we can,
right, and
Work on.
if you wanna find those and either email them or hand them off to me,
yeah,
you know, you can take a picture of it, whatever. Those are these blanks here.
yeah.
And then I'm gonna work on trying to get these in
Get those in a,
PDF and get them up. I sent them all to James, or a bunch of them to James, and he hasn't done it yet. So I know it needs to be me that needs to do it anyway, so I need to learn how to get those in.
well, I have uploaded some, so it's not too bad to do if you can, as long as you can get in.
It's not, I just forgot what I did with the notes about how to get from,
Yeah,
how to get logged into there, because I haven't done it in so
Yeah.
long now.
yeah.
All right, so this is, we were talking about a calendar, a maintenance calendar. This, I started over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that some of these things are now highway. So I want you to be ruthless with your pen and just put HWY with a little arrow for things that the highway department is now taking care of. And then, yeah, we certainly, I'm sorry about the format. It doesn't look like this on my screen. Why it came out
Okay.
like this, I don't know. But,
Didn't print out the way it looked when you
no,
pushed the button.
no, there was no indenting, it was just like a nice neat thing, and,
Mhm.
yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it did that.
Okay.
Should be live slash.
It would certainly help if we even spent a couple of hours there sometime, just cleaning up from last year's stuff. I mean, in the dirt, actually digging and loosening up the dirt and pulling out the old plants.
Oh, yeah,
and stuff.
this was, he and I talked about this, Robert, if we got into the cemeteries, you know, a month before Memorial Day and prepared the plots where we're gonna
Which
put the.
always did.
Right, well, we didn't do that this year, we didn't do it last year, it would be just great if we, you know.
It would make the day that we
It would
actually
so
plant them
much
a lot easier.
Right, so if you go down to the bottom, the last winter thing that I say is volunteer opportunities for the coming year.
Yeah,
And that would be exactly, you know, that's one of those opportunities that would be great.
definitely.
It would be great, and if we thought about gathering that group together in early spring, you know,
Mhm.
call for and meet with volunteers. And then, and schedule.
One of the things about All Hallows Eve that one has to keep in mind is we don't want people in the cemetery at night.
Right,
So it has to be in daylight,
right, absolutely.
has to be in daylight, has to be before sunset.
Yeah,
Lots of people wanna do it at night because it's spooky and fun, but it has to be in daylight. Otherwise, we break that rule and we
right,
don't wanna encourage
we-
that.
We break our own,
Yeah, and we don't wanna encourage people being in there
no,
at
no,
night.
no, because of course, once you do it, then they wanna do it,
Yeah,
with or without
and
you.
they think,
Right,
they
yeah.
think it's okay to do it.
Yeah,
And so
no.
you don't, it needs to be in daylight.
So one way that we could do it would be to, you know, Hudson has a charming Halloween parade. They shut down the whole town and the kids
Mhm.
parade up and down and they have a judging. We could start a gathering at the old burial ground and then walk the costumes across the street and end up on the lawn of the church.
At the common.
Or in, yeah, that we could end up at the common, or actually inside the church for, you know, spiced cider and muffins and cupcakes or something. We talked about it, I know we talked about it because we want to encourage, awareness of citizens to be awake and aware to, you know, how special this is. We have Revolutionary War era veterans in here. This is kind of really cool. So please, if you have
I'd be
anything,
thinking of what things in this go down in a volunteer thing.
yeah, if you have anything that I've missed as far as maintenance things, please add it and send it back to me, or take a picture of it and send it
Yep.
to me. Stick it in my mailbox. I just thought there was one other thing too. Besides these. Oh darn, I don't know what it was. I told you that Henry Pacific and I worked on Mrs. Hastings' tree.
Yeah.
That's still an ongoing thing.
Which thing?
Mrs. Hastings weeping
Oh.
mulberry,
Yeah.
and I
It
tend
does look
better,
a lot better.
yeah.
And secondly, obviously, the tree's winter killed a lot, but.
Well, actually, it has a whole hairnet of dead bittersweet on top, because I severed all the,
Oh.
it's not growing. I
That's
gotta
all the bittersweet.
get up there with a ladder and pull that
To
down.
get some of it
Yeah, I
down.
looked at
Right.
that, it's bittersweet.
But I've also noticed, some of it seems to be coming
Very-
out a little late.
Oh,
too.
yeah. And the other thing too is I talked to, Jerry Byrne, I spoke to his son, I didn't get a hold of him personally, about grafting, not really grafting, it's the other thing, where you partially sever the limb and get it to root. You wrap it
Oh, yeah.
with a planting
Yeah.
medium, and you get the roots to come into the pot that you've attached. Strap a pot onto the wound, and it'll root. And then when it gets enough of a root system, then you disconnect it and you
Disconnect,
stick it in the ground, and you've got another tree.
Yeah.
I explained it to his son, Jerry, but I did not,
To propagate additional plants, trees from it.
right, to make an additional weeping mulberry, which we could then plant
Elsewhere.
elsewhere, either at North or at the old burial ground.
Mhm.
I remembered what the other thing was. Mary Reddington got in touch with me for the board, the Historical Commission board, about the seal that I started all those years ago, before.
Oh, yes, the
before
seal.
Jock
Yes,
and Min
yes,
died,
yes.
and,
Can you find your artwork?
oh, I did. I've been communicating with Mary.
Because you had it pretty well worked out.
Oh, I did. And I even.
But I need to look at it.
And you do, and even the feedback that you gave me at the time, I remembered it. So this is, I had to retrace it because it was so faded, but there it is.
Yeah.
And the thing that, at the time, you wanted the building to be more prominent and the
Gravestone's a
graves
little less
a
so.
little less so.
Yeah.
And it would mean that, I could change the orientation. Where is it? I gotta find the email.
All right, that's okay, but that's not really
Right,
for this meeting.
okay,
The
thank you.
Hearst House people, however, have run into a snag with the building inspector in regard to side yard regulations. And while that was all established when we put the Hearst House there in 1973, it's been gone long enough so the grandfathered decisions of that time are gone by, so we have to go through it again. Not we, but the Historical Society, working with the building inspector, and
Gotcha.
get a ruling from the
To see,
Zoning board.
Board of Appeals
to see whether
Board
they
of
would
Appeals
honor the original agreement.
to variance, as a variance on the side yard. Because there's no room for the side yard, and there's no room to put the distance from the side of the property that it needs to be. And if you move it up front, then you don't have room enough for the front yard. I mean, the rules that go with it don't work
Right,
in that place.
it doesn't fit.
And so, but at the time, it was determined with a ruling from town council that an educational purpose is exempt.
I remember George talking
And that
about
was,
that.
yeah, and George was,
He was
George
on,
was chairman of the Board of Appeals.
yes,
at
at
the
the time.
And he wasn't cemetery superintendent, it was before he got to be, it was 12 years before he got
12
to be
years.
cemetery superintendent. At any rate, it was, we need to get, that group is trying to get that taken care of, and I mention it to the board simply because it has to do with being on the cemetery property. We don't really need to act on it, I don't think. If at some point in the thing they need something from us, we can consider it. Other than that, I think our business for today is done.
Yes.